Hello and welcome to the Gallant Few Rangers podcast. My name is Mason Stewart and I'll be your host for this transfer special, which we haven't had any transfers today, and hopefully we get some news in the next hour or so because it's been a long day. With me tonight, starting we've got Andy. How are you, Andy?
Yeah, not too bad. This will be a good one for the listeners tonight. If you want to have us on in the background whilst frantically refreshing your Twitter, then by all means do so. I would be doing the same if I wasn't on here tonight, but I'm sure we'll have a good discussion about potential incomings. I say that with hope more than anything, and a couple of outgoings probably.
Yes, I thought this would all happen earlier. I thought, Scotty, how are you first of all? But we thought we'd get Shankman today, but that looks like that definitely isn't happening.
Well, Hearts literally put out a tweet like 30 seconds ago, Mason. I've just seen it while we were loading in, saying that they anticipate all the transfer dealings is done, and here's a roundup by the dealings so far. So that either Hearts are in cahoots with Rangers or it's not happening, and I think it's not happening, to be brutally honest with you, mate.
No, I agree, mate. I agree. And Davie T, well, we know I'm not even going to ask how you are because we know you're happy with them news, but good to have you on, Davie.
Yeah, it's great being on, as usual, talking about all things Rangers. Unfortunately, up until now, we can't be talking about new signings. Although we've had two signings this window. I mean, let's not forget that. It's not that we've had no signings. We've had two signings. Whether we've had the game-changing signing yet, I very much doubt. But unless Fabio Silva pulls something out the bag, and then we'll see. But we'll have signings, but just not today, which we were all expecting.
Yeah, Andy, we're going to spend a bit of time talking about all our signings so far. Obviously, we're anticipating that the Cortez deal goes through as well. And if we do get that whilst we're live in the pod, we'll let everyone know. But just at the minute, I want to get everyone's thought on this. But Andy, what's your thoughts on the transfer window so far? Are you quite happy with it? And also putting in, that Lammers looks like, well, he's away. And it looks like Cifuentes is going to be as well. What's your thoughts on it so far?
If you'd asked me that a week ago, I'd be in a lot happier position than I am now. Because, as you said, it changed in the last couple of days. The Brazilian left back's not on until the summer. There was still life by the sounds of it in a Shankland or a striker deal. But now those two seem to have we know that there was the issue with the Brazilian. I keep calling him Brazilian because I can't remember how you actually pronounce his name. That's Brazilian for you, or Portuguese actually. I suppose it would be. I've said a couple of times in the pod. Ideally, I would have liked Shankland in, but the bigger overarching point to that was another striker. Regardless, would be brilliant. Not that I don't have faith in Cyril Dessers because I think he's proven the support wrong one by one. From his kind of start of the season, and rightly so, he had a point to prove. And obviously Silva being brought in, which is good, but we need more options there with Danilo being out till the end of the season. Dessers, I really hope he doesn't hit a bad vein of form because he's been so brilliant, and all the fans are kind of buzzing with him. I'm certainly really chuffed with his performances. I hope that continues, but if he goes out of form, then you're relying on Silva to lead the line week in, week out, and I know there's a lot of games. I thought it was going into the Christmas break. Did we not have something like 26 and 50 days or something? I can't remember. Something nuts. And obviously a lot of games back to back can take a toll on the legs. Even for just resting guys, I think more bodies would be brilliant if we could get it. Seems like we're maybe not going to get that, so we'll just kind of take what we've got. Outgoings, I suppose that means that the manager's made up his mind in a couple of players, which I don't think it's many surprises. Cifuentes hasn't been brilliant for me. Lammers, I know I'm definitely the odd one out in because I still think there might be a player in there somewhere, but fair play. The manager doesn't rate him, at least for the time being, so he's done the right thing. Get him off to a club that will get him some game time.
Yeah, Scotty, I want to try and obviously be positive because it has been all things positive since the Clement come in, but I feel a bit deflated at the minute. And Andy, summing up some of our business, and if you'd have said to me at the end of the month we're going to get a striker in, a winger and a midfielder, I would have been absolutely delighted. But I think for me, and I've seen people argue about it on Twitter and on the forums, etc. Fabio Silva is a good player, right? And he is a good player, but is he going to bang the goals in that's going to win us the league? That's my question towards that signing. And I think, we get a lot of comments in saying, "Where's the striker? Where's the striker?" And I think we've only seen him for a couple of games, but we can already tell the way he plays. I said I've seen him at Wolves as well. I think he's a good player, but I just don't see him being that number 9 that other that's going to bang the goals in.
I've got to completely agree with you, to be honest with you, Mason. I think Fabio Silva, I don't know much about it, boy, if I'm being brutally honest. I think he's had one chance since he's been at Rangers, and it was that kind of flick effort at Easter Road when he played that Matondo set up. It's hard to tell. At number 9, he seems a wee bit in a Morelos mould where he likes dropping deep and getting involved. He's got a decent work rate. But in terms of an eye for goal, it's really hard to tell because he's not been in the box often enough, to be brutally honest with you. The thing I will be most disappointed about tonight is if we don't get a striker in, because everybody knows my feelings in Cyril Dessers, but as much as it's good he's come onto a game, we can't rely on him in an unproven goal scorer to fire us to 56. It's not attainable to me, or sustainable, sorry. So it would be good if we managed to get somebody in. I've just got a slight feeling that there's going to be a double announcement tonight when the window slams shut. Rangers have been far too quiet today. They've just tweeted out about Adam Devine leaving, but that's literally all we've heard all day. Heart and Hand have just tweeted out saying there's got to be a certain degree of them at it with us just now. So I'm sitting on the fence just now in terms of whether Rangers are finished or not.
I just jump in here and say, I remember the window we were like, Jamie Walker's going to sign big time. It's done. And as the minutes ticked by towards midnight, you go, it's not happening. It's just not happening. So to be fair, in the grand scheme of things, good thing it didn't, but at that time.
Davie T, that's the thing. We're all coming in obviously a little bit early. There still is a couple of hours to go, but I think Scotty summed it up quite well there about Fabio Silva, and just the way that we need. If he's right, if Dessers does get an injury, we're banging trouble because, as I said, we are relying on a player that I've already said seems more like a sort of just behind the striker, second striker, if you like, and Fabio Silva. And we're in a position we were a couple of years ago when we got to a Europa League final with one striker. And there was no excuse for it then. So I'll be really disappointed if we don't get another one in the next couple of hours. And I think, going by the comments, a lot of the support are feeling the same.
Well, we've not tried do John Sterling up front yet, have we? He's still to have a go at that position. So maybe we'll be seeing him moved into the striker's role. Now, I don't know. I think the thing is they've got to take into consideration is that Clement said we'll be working up to the wire on this one, which is a point. And the other point that I want to make is that, see, the last few years, Rangers have come out and announced we will be doing no business, further business today, early. So, and they haven't done that. To my knowledge, they haven't done that yet. So I think there's still something to come. I don't know what it'll be, but I would imagine Cortez will come anyway. But I can't see them waiting all this time just to announce Cortez. There must be something happened to the Cortez deal, or there must be, like Scott says, maybe a double signing coming or whatever. But you would have thought they would have thrown us something, bits of information. But obviously, it's not came yet. But still time to go.
Andy, just want to quickly touch on the Cortez signing, if and when it happens. I've just seen there, Paul put up that Luke Shanley said that we're still working on it, and it might be work permit, it might be something just to before we can officially announce it, but seem quite confident that's going to happen. Have you managed to see and read up a lot about him? He looks like he's someone that can play left or right wing. I'm guessing he's going to play on the right because wingers nowadays seem to play the opposite side from the foot they are. And again, I don't want to get too excited from what you see on YouTube because I've said many times on this pod, I've been stung by too many players, and Carlos Pena always comes to my head whenever I watch a player on YouTube. But it looks like we are getting a right winger at last, and it's been how many windows since we've not managed to get a winger. So that's got to be a positive, especially with Simmer being out as well.
Definitely. I mean, me personally, I'd like to play him in the right wing, but that's obviously who my left winger would be. With Matondo, I know there was a lot of talk about him being moved in loan, at least I think it was, but I just thought that was silly, given how short we are of wing options at the moment, regardless of how good you think he is as a player. We need numbers. I can see him probably playing on that side. As I said, as you said, I'm actually kind of been really far away from YouTube highlights. I've only actually got round to really deep diving into Diamande's highlights. I did a lot of reading up on him, but I didn't want to watch the film. As you said, been stung in the past. I've got a feeling that's what Lazio was thinking the day with Kent, to be honest, that they've obviously watched his highlight reel from 3 seasons ago and thought, oh, some player. But I mean, it's as you said, it's an option that we probably haven't. It's a place in the park we haven't filled since probably Daniel Candace is the main one that springs to mind. Having a kind of a guy out in that right flank who's dependable. Obviously still young. Probably fits perfectly into the trading model. Being so young at a semi decent price. You're thinking we can develop him 1 or 2 seasons, give him some European experience. Hoping maybe kind of jumps into his national team, gets some appearances under his belt there, and then sell him on. That seems like a wise move in my opinion. So I was certainly happy with the kind of, I'm going to say links, because as it stands, I don't know if it's going to happen yet. But we'll say the possibility of signing them is a good thing in my opinion.
Scotty, it's this same question to you with the Cortez signing that I asked Andy, and what's your thoughts on that? But also, I've seen a lot of comments, and I said I'm feeling it myself, a little bit frustrated. But the managers come in January is such a difficult window to go and do business, right. And we've done a lot of business in the summer that just wasn't good enough with the manager. We've made it clear that wasn't good enough. He's not, as I said, he hasn't got a magic wand. We can't go and spend the money that probably the squad needs. But also, I think the big one, and we'll touch on it again a little bit later, if Yilmaz is staying, that could have been potentially money there that we could have used. And I bet players like Ben Davis as well, the manager, probably wants to move on wages wise, but he can't. So it makes it really difficult. And the last thing you want to do in something we've done in the past with signing players like Matt Polster is just get players in for numbers' sake and wages' sake. Right. Because there's just for me, I'd rather play one of the youngsters.
No, I think one thing we can say about the window is the players that we brought in are going to bring a certain degree of quality to the squad. So while the starters are not, that kind of remains to be seen. We don't know what's happening with Silva yet. He's only started the 1 game, but it's one of them ones. You're not wanting to blow up a wage bill anymore. We've got that much rubbish on it that it needs cleared up a wee bit. I'm quite gutted that we've not got Ben Davis a move away, because I really don't see a future for him at Rangers under Philippe Clement. It's interesting to see what Rangers are going to do, because like Davie said, that Clement says that we're going to be working right up to the last minute. And the last person to do that was Stevie Gerrard. He said that and we announced Ryan Kent at the old famous Casper Kent announcement at 11:30. So you don't know what's around the corner. But if this is what we've got, then we do need to be happy, because we've brought in a centre forward. But to me, he's just a forward that can play anywhere across the front 3 or behind the front 3. We've brought in a winger who's yet to be announced, and we've got one midfielder. So it's good. It's good. I'm just a wee bit underwhelmed. We've not got an striker to kind of give Dessers a wee bit of competition, because I don't know. I just don't believe in this vein of form he's in just now. I don't think it can last to the end of the season.
Yeah, I agree with you, Scott. Davie, I've seen a sort of question. A few people saying we haven't spent any money yet this month, because obviously if the deal for Diamande is done, that's going to be a loan to buy in the summer, and then we're led to believe that the Cortez is going to be a loan to buy. But I think it's so difficult, as I said, in January. Look at the Premier League clubs. They've hardly spent any money, and I think last January they spent, what was it, think the spend down there was something ridiculous in January, over 500-600 million. So I get it, but I just think with financial fair play, and you can understand why. I think if we can do deals like loan to buy, then I think that makes more sensible than just straight loans, because you're actually developing a player that's going to be yours.
Yeah, well, I was watching, was it Super Scoreboard you call it? I was watching that on YouTube tonight to see if there was getting any information from them. And if you read the comments, then you see from the other side of the city, they obviously know exactly how much we've got in the bank, how much they've got in the bank. One of the guys that phoned in from their side said they had 185 million at the end of going to be coming in. So it seems to be that we've no money. They've been saying that for years, but I don't believe it. Listen, and then Clement said it himself. He's there. He's actually there to balance the books. So the players coming in must be balanced to the players going out, and I can accept that. But the thing is, if we let the Champions League go, to be champions this year is really so important. It brings in so much money. And yeah, I think it would be, we've got to give out some money to get it in. Yeah, but if you've not got the money, then you can't spend it. It's as simple as that. Obviously, in the summer, you can you've got a lot of money coming in the summer, which and all these deals anyway, they're all done over so many years. They're not done. All. Well, we're buying them for 8 million. We've got to pay 8 million in one lump sum. It's not. It doesn't work like that. So no, I think I was actually hoping. We were talking about dreams this afternoon, and I was actually thinking of Cortez on the right and Manhoof on the left, and then a really good striker. So we'll be ripping teams apart, but unfortunately, Manhoof went to Stoke, so we are not getting him. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the other side of the city, they're actually worse than us, because they've hardly brought in anybody. They were after the whole window. They were after Van Hooijdonk, and then they ended up taking the boy from Norwich, and Van Hooijdonk, Norwich went and got Van Hooijdonk. So yeah, it's been good watching them getting riled and mixed up. Brilliant.
Yeah, listen, I always say it, but it's all about what we do, though. I think the league's there to be won, and you're right to say there about another winger. Manhoof, he looked decent, but just scans for us, as I said, to go and spend 4 million in this window. I just don't think we was going to do it, and that's where it's difficult. Andy, I'm just seeing news there, breaking on Sky Sports News, saying that after Cortez, our business is going to be done now, unless there's something that's going to be announced shortly. That's again disappointing.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure at the end of the season, it'll go one of two ways. We either win the league and we go, we can take a breath. It wasn't as bad as we thought in January, or we go, we were short and we found out. Time will tell on the kind of striker front if we're going to rule that decision to not pursue Shankland to get him, or another striker, whoever it may have been that we were looking at. The good thing about that is it sounds like the Cortez issues, whatever they may have been, that have taken it this long to be announced or being ironed out, which is good. The longer that it kind of lasts, the more you're starting to doubt if it's actually going to get over the line. But at least that's a positive from it.
We kept the Elmas, of course,
yeah,
as well.
Yeah, we've got that. We'll touch on that. I want to speak about that, because I think there's obviously a bigger issue around the left hand side. But just got a question, Scotty, and I know we've touched on it again. I probably just said, what guys you obviously, if we don't bring in a striker, which looks like, as I said, Sky Sports saying we won't be, for Dessers for the rest of the season, does it worry you?
Aye, it majorly worries me. As much as it's good to see Big Cyril's come into a game and he's got his own song and there seems to be a bit of a bond between us and the supporters, you can't forget how long it's took him to get here. And Ronald de Boer's quotes in his article just after Dessers signed has stuck with me for day one. Who else is there apart from, I mean, Silva, like we've touched upon. Silva's not a proven goal scorer. It could be in this league, but we've not seen enough of him yet. To me, he likes dropping a lot deeper than... So if we've not got a striker in the box, who's going to score the goals kind of thing? Seema's not there. He's out injured. But we're actually quite light up top across the three positions if you look at it. McCausland's still a young boy. Cortez is going to come in. He's going to need to adapt. Scott Wright, Mr. Inconsistent. Rabbi Matondo, Andy, I know you're a fan, but he's not the most inconsistent. He's not the most consistent of players either. We're really, really light up front. And we had an opportunity. Lovelace as well, but we need to wait on him coming back for injury. Do you know what I mean? It's how long is it going to take? Hamstring problems can once it goes once, it can go again and again and again. Seen it. So I would have liked even just a loan up front, just somebody to bring us in, a bit of quality to get us over to the end of the season. Just that wee bit of backup would have made me feel a wee bit better. But all the signs are pointing to it's not happening, so we'll just need to wait and see and hope that this kind of pays off. But if we don't win the league and something goes wrong, see if we go out and miss blatant chances for the end of the season that ultimately cost us the points, it wins us the league, it's going to fall on the board. And then the synergy that's taking so long for come on to build up could potentially turn. It's a really, really difficult one. Or we could go out and get a job done. We've won a couple already with this squad. It's 50-50 to me, to be honest with you.
Scott, I think you summed it up really well, and I don't mean to keep asking the same question when I say, Des is just that. I mean, you summed it up there, that front line. You know, we're going to be relying, Davie, I'll bring you in us, we're going to be relying on Matondo, it looks like, week in, week out, where at the moment he's had little spurts here and there, but nowhere near enough, in terms of even a 60-minute performance from Matondo. For me, I'm not seeing enough. And then you've got young Ross McCausland, who, to be fair, I don't think he's done anything wrong. I think he's been a sort of bright spot for us. But again, relying on him, week in, week out. So Cortez, it's big pressure on him coming in, by the way, as well, because he's going to have to, because we are going to get little knocks injuries. It's 2 games a week now. So if we're going with his squad, Clement's done well, but as Scotty just said, the ball will get it big time if they feel like they couldn't get anyone else in.
Yeah, you see, the thing you've got, I mean, we're saying we've not got any strikers, and we haven't got any strikers fit. The thing is, even although they're not fit, they're still pulling in a wage. And I mean, you can say, bring in 10. He's injured, we put him to the side, we bring in another striker. But at a certain time, you just can't, because you're so many. And that's why another reason I was against Shanklin, because you're not getting Shanklin for the 6-month loan period. If we could have got them for that, I would have jumped at it as well. But you're getting them for 4 or 4.5, 5 years. And normal is now 4 years, which is going to make him 33, 34. And I'm just against Shanklin because I don't think he's going to. He might be a player that wins us the league this year. I don't know. I don't think so, but he might be. But the fact is that you're not buying him just for this end of season. You're buying him for the next 4 years, and I just don't think he's going to be a good player for Rangers for the next 4 years. I would love to see us bringing in a striker on loan. And if it's anybody, but if it's not Shanklin, then I would prefer it to be a loan with maybe an obligation. Then we can have a look at them, and we can and then we can see what they do in the loan period. But no, I think we just as I say, we've got strikers in, but we just can't get them fit. That's an unfortunate thing.
That's it, David. Poor recruitment from previous transfer windows is definitely biting us in the backside at the minute.
I come up against another one today. It was one that we let go that should never have left Ibrox. Was Mayo from Kilmarnock. That boy should never have left Rangers. He should have been. Unfortunately, Beale saw the way that he could sell him, and I just don't understand some of the decisions Beale made. I think it's obviously clear now he just didn't have a clue. And why
I-
Sunderland have taken him on, God knows.
Davie, to be brutally honest with you, I couldn't agree with you any more on Lewis Mayo. We're never going to be able to bring youth products through unless we give him a game. And Lewis Mayo, to me, had his loans. He was perfect, and he would have played this season.
He played a few games and we had clean sheets every game, as far as I can remember. This season even, or was it last season he went? But he
I
had
said this all the way back to the Kelly game at the start of the season. He looked so confident in defending his box and doing his duties, and it was like one of these guys should have been looking at their backline and thinking that guy should be knowing that shot and it should be in that shot, and you go, no, that's how it goes. Sometimes we make another mistake, another big blunder. I guess that kind of this bumps up Derek McInnes' CV this season, I suppose.
It's just I kind of get the Mayo one in terms of if you're replacing him instead of Leon King. What I've seen of both players, Mayo definitely looks like a better player. I'll give you that. But does he break through into our centre defence? I don't know. Maybe in a couple of years. I don't know about right now. But Andy, there's reports again that Yilmaz, we've rejected another bid for Yilmaz. I think the Turkish window's got a little bit longer. I think is it tomorrow or a few days after. So hopefully, I will do on that if we go and sell him, because that will leave us really short. But what's your thoughts on that? Again, all different reports on what kind of fee it is. But we've obviously as well tried to get a left back in, but that fell through. And I think we're trying to get him on a pre-contract. But I would have felt, I know, again, I'm asking you, I know you're a Barisic fan, but I would have felt a lot better with Yilmaz and someone else being back up for that left back position. But Yilmaz has been decent lately, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'll stick to my guns and say that, as you said, I like Borna, as I said ages ago when it was Borna in the team, that I want that left back to be whoever is training the best and taking the opportunities when they pop up, and that's been Yilmaz at the minute. He's looked exceptional. His last couple of appearances, I mean, his goal at Easter Road was well taken, and it shows that kind of difference that he can bring, apart from what Borna can do. And Borna's probably a bit of a deeper option, but in that game where Tav was going up the wing a lot, he was sitting high, he was coming inside and still sitting high up the park. Yilmaz was doing the same. That game was more suited to Ridvan Yilmaz, because that's the difference to the two players. Borna's probably, he's the bigger of the two, so he's a bit less mobile. I think that's an understatement to some of the people that don't really like Borna. But Ridvan, the argument for him is he's too small. Well, when you're slightly smaller, you're probably faster than your opposite number, and he certainly showed that. I think it was just a good night in general that night for the wing. The two players on that kind of wing side, Yilmaz coming up and Matondo taking on his man. The two of them gave that the opposite player for Hibs a horrible night. But it just shows what he can bring, and I hope he really does stay. I've made peace with the fact that Borna's going to leave at the end of the season. That's obvious. Like everybody knows that. His contract's up, and I don't see us renewing it, especially now that the Brazilian lad is essentially done, and we're just waiting until the end of the season. I think he looks like a really good option. I did watch a bit of film on him because it was I just looked at my kind of spare time. He looks like a really kind of confident player on the ball, similar to the way that Yilmaz is, except he is a wee bit taller. He kind of gave me the kind of flashbacks of a Gareth Bale just running with the ball, striding up the park and gliding by players. And if he can be anywhere good as that guy, then some player. But yeah, I've just seen a certain tweet dropping, if you want to have a talk about that, of a Colombian player.
He's announced.
Is it announced?
Just announced.
I knew it would happen when we were on the
9 on the dot.
That's Cortez announced. I'll let one of the other boys talk, and I'll get some more information on that in a minute. But yeah, Cortez has signed. Scotty, just staying with left back for the moment. What's your thoughts on Yilmaz staying? I've done a. I think I was on the pod just before Christmas. We done a transfer pod, and I said we've got to try and sell Yilmaz. Just get our money back, and I wanted two left backs, as I've said. I'm not going to bore the listeners what I think about Borna Barisic, but he's been here way too long for me. But are you quite pleased to see Yilmaz stay at the minute? And I suppose it does make sense in terms of, you know, Bournemouth going, getting someone in sort of done earlier. Look, I know it will be for the summer, but getting business done now, you know, so there's not rushing getting players in, because hopefully we're going to have a lot of players that are out of contract. Maybe by Lundstrom. Sorry, Davie T. You know, should be the only one that's going to be staying around.
Aye, definitely. In terms of Yilmaz, I think now that we know he's staying, his value only goes up. It doesn't go down. The value that we've set is a value that we'll get regardless. So if Yilmaz comes out and has a good 6 months at Rangers and impresses teams that are watching him, then this could be the guy that kickstarts our trading model. I've just seen William Martin's comment here saying his biggest worry is Ridvan leaving. If Rangers have rejected an offer tonight, he's not going anywhere because we've not got time. We'd need to get another left back in. I don't believe that Clement would go with Borna and maybe do John Sterling, especially with Adam Devine getting on loan. Ridvan isn't going anywhere. So it's all on Ridvan to go and impress now and kick on in a Rangers jersey. He's shown good form since winter break. He's had contributions on the park. He's really kicked on, in my opinion. He's finally arrived. But in the Artosy coin, if Ridvan had to go and Jofte in to let us spend money on a striker, then I would have done it. I would have completely 100% done it. Because I think the striking area of Park's more important than what the left back area is at the minute, because we're that thin up top. So I'm happy Yilmaz is staying. In terms of a contract players, the only one I would keep is Borna. The rest of them can. Kemar Roof's been stealing a wage for Rangers for years now. Borna Barisic hasn't been the same since the games against Celtic. So it's about time they go. When we had that, when there was talk about Borna going to Roma a few years ago, if there was any bids took in, this is where Rangers need to pull the trigger now. Like if a decent bid comes in for Yilmaz or Jack Butland in the summer, then I think you're going to see Rangers being a wee bit more ruthless. I think we need to get used to players leaving to get this trading model up and running.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, Scotty, I think the manager referenced it in his last two press conferences where he said in the past the club hasn't made good decisions, and he said that when asked if anyone else would leave one of our important players, he said, well, it depends if we get 20 million in from or not. So I think he's being more so than Bill or Van Bronckhorst was being, saying, listen, we are that club, and I don't think he'll be afraid. More so Gerrard was the one really that a lot of them decisions, I think he wanted to keep that team together after we won the league, and hindsight's a great thing that a lot of them players should have been sold on. Davie T, just to finish then on the left back position. I know, am I right in saying you wasn't a big fan of Yilmaz? So was you hoping that we was going to be getting the money in this month?
The problem I find with Yilmaz is I don't think he's a great defender. I think he's good at going forward. I really like him going forward. I don't think he's a great defender though. And as Andrew says, he's not that tall. So the back post with corners is always a danger now. Although Rangers seem to now have got a sort of a strange way with corners now. They seem to put the smallest people with the biggest players, and the smallest players seem to be, because Ridvan was marking a player, McCausland was marking their centre halves, and it seems to keep Goldson and the two centre halves. It seems to keep them on a zonal position, and the smaller players, they seem to take the centre half. If you watch, I've been watching the last few games, and that's what we seem to be doing. It seems to be that the smaller players getting they're trying to block the big players, so as our centre halves can header the ball. So that's sort of because I always wondered why Ridvan was marking one of the biggest players. And if you remember against Hearts, I think it was a big left back that was that kept coming up for corners. He was a really massive guy, and Ridvan was on him all the time. So that seems to be the way we're doing corners now. And yeah, Red Van is okay going forward. I mean, listen, I don't think Red Van's great. I don't think he's the worst player we could ever get. But yeah, I'm on the fence with it. I don't think he's the greatest the greatest defender that we've got, and we're all on about Tavernier not defending very good. And I think Tavernier's a better defender than Yilmaz is. So I'm sort of stuck on Yilmaz. I'm quite glad he's staying because we need a left back, that's for sure. And Borna's time is gone. Borna's time has run its race. So although there was sort of news that he was getting a new contract as well, I can understand him getting a new contract if we were selling Yilmaz and bringing in another defender. Then Borna would have probably been a bank sitter or a bench sitter. And yeah, no, I'm glad he's staying, but I would hope in the future that I think getting a bit of money from him. And what the last thing I want to say is that well done Rangers for not buckling to Galatasaray and giving them for the price that they were wanting to give us. That's a big thing. At last, it looks like Rangers have got a set of balls and not just accepting the price because the other team thinks that that's the price they should be paying.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think the thing is with Yilmaz, I've said it since he joined. He never seemed to get a run of games. He had 1-2 games and he showed little things, and then he's out for 3, 4, 5 games, and he can't get back in the team. I think what since that December he's come in, he's had 6, 7, 8 games now, and I feel like the big difference. I'm not sure I agree about his defending, Davie. To be honest, his height, there's nothing he can do about that. But I think that a lot gets. Everyone goes on about his height, the Shankland one is obviously the obvious one. I don't think there's been too many other times he's been really, really done. But what Rivdan does when he does get the ball, he always looks forward. Now, it might not always come off. I think
agree.
His first thought is, can I play forward? And that just gives, I think, you can see the balance of the team just looks, for me, comparing it to Barisic, it just looks so much better because he's thinking, right, can I play forward? And it's just something that sort of simple. But yeah, I think. Go on, David.
I will disagree with Andrew totally, though, that because he's small, he's probably faster than the rest. I think if you look at the top sprinters in the world, they've all got these big long legs that's got a stride about 5 meters long. So I totally disagree that small people are faster.
Yeah, well, I don't think he's too slow, but he's quicker than Barisic. I know that anyway. Andy, just then, more news today is Adam Devine's gone out on loan to Motherwell. I think that's quite a good move for him. I'm going to be honest, maybe it sounds a bit brutal, but I don't see him breaking into this Rangers team, if I'm honest. But it'll be interesting to see what he goes and does at Motherwell.
Yeah. His chances at Rangers depend on Dusan Sterling's position in the future, in my opinion. I can see if he's going to be a midfielder, then Tav maybe has to have that conversation with himself at the end of the season. I know there's been some rumours about Saudi interested in Tav, that they maybe move the goalposts and Devine's chances at the club. I think if he goes to Motherwell and has a good stint towards the end of the season, he certainly is doing himself no disservice and doesn't hurt his chances if he is to have a chance at having a crack at the starting jersey in that position. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind him. I think he's been okay when I've seen him. I've seen him probably more as a left back than a right back, which he's more natural in. But I suppose only time will tell with that. I'm kind of happy, and it seems like some of the outgoings in terms of the loans we've made have been quite sensible. I think the one that sprung to mind earlier on in a couple, like last week, was Aaron Lyle left the B team to go to Airdrie. Obviously, Rhys McCabe will have an idea of how he wants him to develop whilst he's there. Of McCabe being ex-Rangers, and obviously Devine going to Motherwell with Andy Halliday being there. Having our kind of guys that will know exactly what we'll be demanding of them whilst being away from the club to kind of keep them on the straight and narrow. I think that does us no harm. So that's quite wise in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Scotty, I know we spoke about transfers there for 40 minutes. It is transfer deadline day, but we've got 4 home games coming up on the spin. I think it's a perfect time to get more minutes to Fabio Silva, Diamande and Cortez now, who is signed, and there is an option to buy in that deal as well. I can't remember the last time we had sort of 4 games in a row at home, all favourable. There should be no drop points there. So, as I said, there is a chance for us to go and put a little bit of pressure on Celtic, and that starts with Livingston on Saturday, who are really struggling at the minute as well.
Aye, definitely. You would be expecting us to go and batter a few past Livingston. Bringing in Diamande maybe to start. If the boy's fit and come on wants him to play, should be playing. Silva, we need to see a wee bit more of him. Definitely need to see more of Silva now that we know that we're not getting another striker. Chris Jack's just tweeted out that Rangers have told him that business is done for the night. In reaction to the transfer window, Davie says about holding out for Ridvan. I think holding out for Butland's just as important when we've said no to him. I think that's probably the biggest move of the window for Rangers. It's the biggest story. It's quiet. We've went about our business well. Now we just need to go and play football. Get points on the board. We've got 4 home matches. I think it's Livingston, Aberdeen, Ayr, and I can't mind the 4th one. I mean the 4th fixture, but it's all winnable games. It's all winnable games. With a passage through to quarter-final of Scottish Cup as well. I'm just praying nothing happens to the strikers. I've texted my pal who attends the youth matches to see if we've got anybody he thinks that is ready to step up as backup. Davie's mentioned Lovelace. I think Lovelace has kind of been playing wide right, wide left for the reserves, the B team. So I'm not sure he would get a run through the middle. He's out of contract in the summer as well. When you're talking about out of contract players for, a first team, you want to see a list for youth team. I done a pod with RFC youth updates on my Patreon. Everybody should go and subscribe to it. They're really good updates. Some of the boy Lilacs away on loan, Air Drionans, he's out of contract at the end of the season. There's a pile of them, and it's bad business. It's on Rangers' part yet again. So I don't know. I'm optimistic. I think we can still win the league with this squad that we've got, but I would have felt even more confident with a striker in to push Dessers a wee bit more.
That's it, and Davie T, and I don't want to keep going over sort of old ground, but there is a lot of questions about the striker bit. Scotty's mentioned it there a few times, but surely Saturday is a chance for Silva to get a good 67 minutes, under his belt, 60 or 70 minutes, I should say, under his belt. Try and get him a goal. Just I think when a player joins a new club, it's so important they get off the mark early, and I think a goal just in that position will hopefully give him a lot of confidence. And as I said, there should be, if you had to pick a fixture for a Saturday, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but we should be looking at this and saying, right, let's go and go and score a few goals.
Well, the thing is with Silva is that he's had a couple of weeks now in the training ground, this full week anyway. So he'll be getting to, I would imagine, he'll be working with a striking coach, and he'll be picking up tips from him. So obviously Clement's got to set out in a way that he wants us to play, and I think Silva will be one of the head people in that if he is picked every week. Obviously, I would say Dessers' scoring ability is probably more at the moment than he has, but I always think as well, if you ask any Feyenoord supporter, they say, I've said this a few times, he's better coming off the bench than he is getting a full 90 minutes. So it's a difficult situation we've landed in, because I know there's a young boy that's in the under 18s been scoring a lot, but I mean he's too young. He's I know they say if he's young enough, he's good enough, or if he's good enough, he's old enough. I think it is the way they should say it, but. No, I don't really see anything coming through the youth ranks. to be honest with you, that are sort of strong enough yet at the moment. But no, let's hope. Let's hope we just get through it, and we've just got to. We can't do it. If business is finished for tonight, then we can't do any more about it. We're going with what we've got, and as everybody says, if we get another injury, then we are up the knackered. Put it that way, and we've got to go with it now. I mean, I suppose you can you could put Matondo through the middle as well, although it's not been that successful in the past. But I mean, he can't play in that position. But we're running out of ideas, to be honest with you, what we're going to do.
Andy, getting a few different comments. I just put one up from Teddy Bear saying the title was there for the taking, but we've not showed ambition in this window by getting another striker. And I know where he's coming from. Listen, I'm frustrated as well, but I still do really believe that this title is there for the taking with this squad. As I said, we need to be lucky now with injuries. We've all said that, but I don't think this is the best, Celtic team that we've seen in recent seasons. As I said it earlier, it's all about what we do. And under Clement, I do feel more confident that we're going to tick games off. And as I said, these 4 games coming up at home is a great way for us to do that. But I'm not sure I agree with the titles. That's it away. I think that it's game on. It's going to be now down to who holds the nerve best.
As far as I was aware, I didn't think you got points in the table for making signings. That's a new one to me, to be honest. But as I said, I think you look back at the kind of 2 old firms we've had, especially the first one of the season at Ibrox. I think we know how the game panned out. The early goal disallowed. I think, as I've said it numerous times, if that's given, I think that's a completely different game. If we take that goal, I even went as far as saying earlier podcast this season, if we won that game, Bale would have been given more time in the job because he would have had more goodwill in the tank. The last Old Firm at Parkhead was Parkhead, and we've not really exactly had a great track record anyway there. So I mean, you can chop that up as whatever you want to say, but as far as I'm concerned, we've still got 2 other games against Celtic. As you say, I don't think they've got a great team. Although I think they have steadied their downward momentum, because they did have a slip up, and that can usually tend to lead to other slip ups. They've seemed to kind of steady that. Whether or not they'll keep that going, because I don't think they're the same juggernaut as they were last season before. It's a different team. It's a team that's still very early in this kind of new phase with Rodgers being back. So I think you're spot on in saying if we can just stick to doing what we're doing, keep ourselves focused on our journey towards the end of the season, or our marathon, as the manager says, then I'm sure we can come up with the results that we want and the silverware at the end of the season.
Scotty, as I said, the team Saturday, hopefully we do see, at least, I say 2 new signings. Silva's already here, but all of them feature at some point. Just to go sort of back on there again, as I said, still getting a lot of comments about it. And I know you said yourself disappointed, didn't get a strike. I think I said me and you have been ones Shankland all window. Do you honestly think this team can win the title up? Do you sit here now and honestly think, right, okay, with the players that we've got out injured, in the 4 positions and the team we've got right now, do you think they're good enough?
Aye. I think there's enough quality in the squad to do it, and I think having Clement as manager, he's consistently had to pull a team together for somewhere. He's a stroke of genius putting Dujon Sterling in the middle of the park. So I think Clement will have his ideas. He's obviously going to keep him to sell about what he can do if the worst happens in the striking department. Say, I don't know, Dessers gets injured and Silva's not in a vein of form, or 2 of them's one suspended or something. I do believe Clement will have a backup plan here. He's not a daft man. But the thing is, it's, for me, a trebles era season. we've still got 3 competitions to play for. See, you look at it in the grand scheme of things, you look at a bigger picture, we've still got 3 trophies to compete for. We've still got a run in Europe. I don't think we're going to challenge for Europa League. That's not what I'm saying. But I believe that we could maybe get a last 8 at least if we get a good draw in the last 16. So that's potentially enough 4 matches. You've got your Scottish Cup. That's everything, like we've said. Once we beat Celtic once, I think it's going to. I can see the momentum shifting. But like Andy says, the Kyogo's decided them 2 Old Firm games so far this season. He scored the win on the 2 of them, and that's why I was wanting Rangers to go out and get Shankland or a striker of that ilk. As I said in the chat, I would have taken Tony Goals back. See somebody we know can put a body back in it. That's all I was wanting. Ultimately, that's all any was I want. Just somebody to come in and push Dessers and provide a bit of depth. We've not got Danilo until March, April. We've not got Sima until whenever. So it's sad for me because I not only think that we can definitely win a league with this team, but I think the treble's a stretch too far now.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. I think the league can be won, and the biggest, I think Scott, you summed up really well there. The biggest sort of positive I'm taking is the manager. Is the manager we've got? He's going to drag them over the line, as you said. They're playing players where at first we're going, why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? And we're just getting the results. Davie, sort of bring it on. I think the midfield has gone from being one of the weakest areas. I've said it for years, our midfield's been a major problem. But I think what he's sort of found with Sterling going in there and Lundstrom, since he's come in, as I said, I've been a critic as well as yourself. And that, them two, for me, that's their shirt. I just hope that we've really want to watch here with someone that we haven't really spoke about tonight in Diamande. Because if he is, that could be that mid. For me, if you're winning the midfield every week, you win games of football. And I think the Old Firm games, everyone's right to talk about Kyogo and the difference there. But I still think our midfield's been second best in the 2 Old Firm games, and I think that's where the games are won and lost. So I'm really hoping that's going to be our strong point from now to the end of the season. As I said, we've just got to hope that he finds his feet and he's a quality player.
Well, I was going to cut in.
Sorry,
David. I was going to cut in on you, Mason, but you've gave me the perfect bridge in what I want to say now. We're all getting blinded by this striker role. See, the year we won 55, the goals were spread out amongst virtually 4 or 5 players. It wasn't just a striker that was scoring. Everybody was scoring goals. And that's what we need to get back to. We need to get back to the midfield scoring goals. We need to get back to McCausland, get McCausland scoring goals, get the wingers scoring goals. And that was a great thing about Sima. Sima was scoring from the wing. He wasn't the main striker. And that's what we need to get back to. We don't need to get blinded by one player having to score all the goals. We need to get all the players. Tavernier will still get goals in the future. He's going to, but we need to get the likes of Raskin. Raskin needs to get. We can't have Raskin and Lundstrom playing sitting roles. One of them's got to create a danger. We've got to have a midfield that are also a danger to goals. Ryan Jack, he can pick up goals now and again, but unfortunately he's hardly ever fit. So that we've got that problem as well. But that's what we need to do. We need to spread it, and I totally agree with you. Obviously, the first game we played them at Ibrox. I mean, the first half we just lay down and let them do what they do. Let them tickle under our chin. The second half we tried to come out and get them, but we actually got them fast. Got them into their own half, and they could hardly get out. But the goal didn't fall. But no, I definitely agree with the midfield, and that's I'm going to sound like a sort of a record here. They always say that the main bone of your team is the goalkeeper, the centre half, your mid, and your striker, and then I think Lundstrom and I've lost his name, Shankland, and I think the speed. We're going to have a really, really slow middle of the field, and that would have frightened me as well.
Well, do you know, Andy, I'll bring you in on this. You know, you mentioned there with the midfield and Raskin coming back. Andy, what's your thoughts been on Raskin? Because he's one that has split the support. And to be honest, I've been really, really disappointed with Raskin. I think I probably went a little bit OTT toward the end of last season, and then watching him in pre-season against Newcastle, I thought we'd want to watch with Raskin. He's come, you know, when he was playing before Bill got the sack, I thought he was really poor. He come into the team just before his injury. For me, didn't look right. And then now he's come back again. And again, he doesn't look fit. And I really don't. If you're asking me to pick our best sort of midfield and best 11, I wouldn't put him in it.
Yeah, it's kind of the mystery this season how you can go for the same with Cantwell, to be perfectly honest, how they can go for having such an incredible second half of last season in terms of their individual performances, really looking like assets to, you know, probably having to do a lot to actually get into the first team. I know Todd's at the moment, although his performances as a whole haven't been brilliant, he's been chipping in with some goals here and there. So that probably justifies him getting picked. Raskin doesn't have the luxury of being that far up the park. I do think he has been subtly improving in the games he's come back since his injuries, but not tenfold, nothing significant. I still think that Lindstrom's is brilliant since Clements came in. He's really, as I said, at Easter Road, it's contract renewal form. He's just looking strong and being the sheriff in the middle of the park. Dujon is something different. He's just physical. He's got a great pass on him. He's just got buckets of confidence at the minute. He's not afraid to stick the foot in. As I said, if he keeps staying fit, then it's his jersey to lose, and that's why Raskin's got so much to do. He needs to impress in these performances. He needs to impress in these opportunities. That he's going to be given, because as I said, we've got so many games coming up that the midfield's going to be rotated whether we like it or not. Obviously, we don't have as many options as we maybe would like, but you're going to have to utilise Raskin if you're going to get him back to being as good as we think he can be. He's going to need to have game time to do that. So I don't think he's done and dusted. I think he's obviously got we've seen how good he can be. It's just about getting him back up to that. I think I'm slightly disappointed in the fact that, you know, Clement being, you know, a Belgian, you thought I had the lovely idea a fellow countryman would be perfect for him, but it hasn't seemed like that since he's come in. But I'm still optimistic that he can get him back to as good as he was.
Scotty,
can I come in just there? I think, see if we can keep Tom Lawrence fit, I think he'll be a game changer, because Tom Lawrence is an absolutely brilliant football player, and I think he will be a game changer if we can keep him fit. But there we go with the problem again, keeping players fit.
That was going to be my next question there to Scotty. I agree with you. Scotty, just as well, I want you to get your thoughts on Raskin just before we come on to Tom Lawrence. But yeah, just before you do that, what's your thoughts on Raskin, Scotty?
Raskin's... See, if any, I don't know what Nico Raskin brings to this Rangers team, if I'm being brutally honest. He's a passenger. I don't know what he offers, obviously. But Michael Beale brought him in. He came in and sort of made an improvement in midfield, but it's hard to see. We've seen it again in the second half against Servette earlier on in the season. Really took the game by scruffy neck and took charge of it. Is that doing to what role we're playing him in? Is it because I'm talking about Nico Raskin's Rangers career here. I'm not just talking about him in the last few weeks. He's just coming back for injury, but just in general, I don't know how we can sell somebody on that. I don't know what his obvious quality is. Does he score from outside the box? Does he win all his tackles? Is he a good passer every ball? Is he box to box? Is he a good engine? I'm struggling to see it, to be brutally honest with you. And I think that's part of the reason Diamondi's been brought in, because I think he's going to take up that left-hand side of midfield and give that balance, because he's left-footed with a kind of Glenn Kamara role. So it'll be interesting to see. Like what Davie says about Tom Lawrence. Tom Lawrence is class. He's a really good football player, but again, he's another one that's been injured and in and out of the team quite a bit. He's shown in flashes what he can do, But I think unless he gets a good run of games for now at the end of the season, I think Tom Lawrence could potentially be for the exit door in the summer. But it's hard. It's really hard to say about him because I don't want to overly criticise the guy. It's not his fault that he's came to us and he's all of a sudden started picking up all these injuries. I like the way Clement's handling him. Clement's handling him in terms of taking him off the bench and just easing him in gently. Whereas the past 2 times he's come back for injury, he's been thrown in for a start. I think the second time he got injured coming back from injury, the first time, I think it was in a European game, I want to say. And then obviously when he's come back at the beginning of the season there, he's come in and got injured again when I think that was away to Hearts. He was playing central midfield. So there is a player there, but you can't rely on him there. Teddy Bears had just put in the comments, Ruth, Lawrence and Dowell, you can't rely upon them. They're all good football players. You know they make a difference to your squad, but they're not there. I mean, is that something? Could Ruth potentially be back before Danilo? But if he is, then great. But
For how long?
It's again, you can't rely upon it. If we suffer badly for injuries in the striking department, it genuinely wouldn't surprise me to see the likes of James Tavernier play up front, because I actually think that's a problem. That's a point. We're at a point of no return in the striking department if something bad happens.
I don't know who signed off the Dowell move.
It's a joke, David.
Dowell was known that he was an injury-prone player. He was injured when we bought him, and I have no idea who signed that off. But whoever signed it off, they should really pay his wages.
Michael Bill, absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. I every day passes, it just frustrates me that he was our manager. But yeah, that's another podcast. Davie, last question I want to put to you tonight. Just to finish off, on the 3 signings that we've made this window, I'll include Silver in that. Who are you excited to see and get a run of games the most?
Excited to see them all. I think Silva has got a role to play. As I say, I think Silva can bring people into play. I think he'll be a better player for holding the ball up, so as midfield players can get up to them. Dessers is not that great in that. And I think if we can give him the chances, he will score goals. But he's not a known goal scorer. It's not just the last while. He's through his career, he's never been really known as a goal scorer. No, a winger. Yeah, a winger can. Yeah, we thought, oh great, Matondo's played for Schalke, and he's a couple of was it Man City school he came from, I believe, and we thought, oh great, yeah, and he absolutely done nothing. And I remember one from the other side that everybody thought was going to be great was with Man City. It was a guy Roberts or something like you call him. I think he missed a sitter against Rangers once.
Patrick Roberts.
Yeah, and so I mean, a winger can be hit or miss. The boy from the midfield, what's he called? I've lost his name now. Monday. Yeah. I don't think he'll be coming into the team right away because they stopped playing in November, I believe. Don't think he's played for a couple of months, so he's not going to be match fit for a couple of weeks. So I think, obviously a winger. If you get a wee winger that can shoot past players and put in a big goals, I mean, I think I read tonight that Cortes hasn't played a lot, but when he did come on, he scored the last game and he had 4 assists in the few minutes that he's had this year. So hopefully we'll be getting a good player there. And as I said, Silva, I think there's definitely a player in there. I think he'll come onto his game. I mean, 13 million. I don't think Wolves are wanting 13 million. If there's not a player in there, nobody's going to be paying 13 million for him. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Big drop from 35, which they bought him for, right enough. Andy, we'll call it there. We've had a lot of comments tonight. Thanks as always, Andy. My question to you is, what's your predictions for Saturday, Livingston at home?
I feel like with Livingston, there's always a good chance that they'll batten down the hatches, and you never know what you're going to get. it could either be one where, you know, we hit the target early and we get on the score sheet and they fold. Because I feel like once they concede that first goal, that's game done and their heads drop. But I'll say 2-0. I don't think it'll be as comfortable as we think, as we would like, I suppose, would be the better way of saying it. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see instant impact from these guys, but you know, it'll take time. I don't know which players will maybe feature straight away. It'd be interesting to see if Clement thinks maybe Diamande straight into the midfield could provide a spark that maybe we've not had, or you know, Cortez straight in, get him running at players. It'd be interesting to see if he's going to start Dessers again. Obviously, Silva got his start in Edinburgh, but Dessers came on and scored, and then Dessers started and scored against Mirren. So, my opinion would be it's Dessers starting shirt to lose, unless Clement's seeing things in the training pitch which would suggest otherwise. So I think we'll have more learnings as to Clement's kind of thoughts and where he stands when we see that team sheet. But yeah, I'm going to go 2-0. I don't think we're going to be threatened, but I don't think it's going to be as much of a goal fest as we think.
Nice one. Well, thanks for tonight, mate. I'll take any kind of win, so we'll take that. Scotty, thanks for tonight. What's your prediction for Saturday?
Just thanks to everybody for tuning in, and 4-0 Rangers. 4-0 Rangers, nice and easy. I think we're going to see the arrival of Fabio Silva on Saturday.
I like it, Scotty. Finishing on a bit of a positive note. I like it, mate. And Davie, thanks as always. What's your prediction for the weekend?
Yeah, thanks for everybody for listening in. I'm not as bad a Shankland hater as everybody thinks. I just don't want to see my eyebrows. But I am going to go, and I thought this long before everybody else said anything. I think we're going to win 5-0, so I'm going for 5-0 Rangers.
Nice one. I'm going to go full out. So I'm going to go 3-0 Saturday, and I want Silva to get on the score sheet, because I feel like if we're going to win the league, we need him to score.
It's needed.
It is needed. But yeah, as Scotty said there, thanks everyone for tuning in tonight and putting as many comments. It was going mental. Hopefully, be interesting to see what the manager says in his press conference tomorrow anyway, and see how he feels about this window. But we'll be back on Sunday night to go through the game and hopefully talk about 3 points. So, as always, thanks for listening.